Let's be honest, most planning periods feel more like a scavenger hunt than protected time. You sit down with 40 or 70 minutes on the clock and somehow only get through one slide deck, or worse, spend the entire time rearranging your desk. Sound familiar? This episode is for every multi-prep teacher who's ever stared at the screen wondering where to start and walked out of their prep feeling even more behind than when the bell rang. Welcome to the Secondary Teacher Podcast, the podcast for middle and high school teachers juggling multiple preps to get the strategies to reduce overwhelm so that you don't have to choose between being an effective teacher and prioritizing important relationships. I'm your host, Kristen Masick, a 10-year high school engineering teacher, former middle school assistant principal, and teacher coach. Every week, we will discuss strategies, systems, and time-saving tips to help you not only survive but thrive as a multiple prep teacher. Early in my teaching career, especially during those years when I had 7 or more preps, I'd finally get a block of planning time and completely freeze. Not because I didn't have anything to do, but because I didn't even know where to begin. I'd just sit there mentally spinning through standards, trying to recall what I taught yesterday and what I should be teaching tomorrow. 10 minutes would pass, then 15, and before I knew it, the bell rang. It's not laziness, it's decision fatigue, and that was eating up half my planning time. But even on the days I did know what needed to get done, something else would hijack my time, like the clutter on my desk. See, I'm not someone who loses things easily, but visual mess, it messes with my brain. I'd sit down to plan, but instead I'd start clearing a pile, reorganizing my sticky notes, adjusting the whiteboard layout, anything but opening my computer and getting to work. Cleaning felt productive, which made it the perfect trap. And let's be real, when your desk is your command center for 6 different classes, it doesn't take much for it to start looking like a yard sale. Even when I had a clear desk and clear priorities, I still wasn't immune to losing my planning time period to another time suck: interruptions. Most of them well-meaning. One of my closest friends and I had the same prep period, so we'd vent, debrief, catch our breath after a tough class. And while those moments mattered, they also cost us our momentum. Eventually, we had to make a deal. The first 30 minutes were work time, the last 10, fair game for catching up. Of course, not all interruptions come with a smiling face. Some come from your admin, asking for a quick seating chart change, or an emergency student conference, or a survey you didn't know was due by 2 p.m. No matter how important the interruption, it still pulled me away from the thing I most needed to do: plan. And because planning often got bumped, grading started following me home. Here's what I had to admit to myself: I was never going to finish grading during my planning period. I was always prioritizing prepping for the next class, and that meant grading pile only grew. Eventually, the pile became the backpack, and the backpack came home every night. I carried it like a badge of honor, but it was really a sign that my systems weren't working. I did get smarter over time as I was changing how I was doing at the grading, so allowing my students to grade themselves or self-assess. That really helped. The other thing was to have things hanging up around my room, or having exemplars around my room, or even online that they could access and they could check themselves. And finally, when I would spend time as I was walking around and giving feedback, which I was doing every class period anyway, but at the same time, I started giving them points or credit for their assignments they were doing. All those things drastically cut down on the amount of things that I was bringing home. But before I figured that out, I spent way too many prep periods feeling like I was failing, even when I was doing everything I could. And that mindset, it played right into my next trap: perfectionism. For me, it didn't show up in grading, it showed up in slide decks. I'd spend an entire planning period tweaking colors, hunting for the perfect image, making sure every transition was just right. It felt like I was being thoughtful, but honestly, it was avoidance. Because when you only get one shot at a lesson, especially in a multi-prep schedule, you want it to land. You want it to matter. But chasing perfection was stealing my peace. It didn't leave room for done. It only left room for not good enough yet. And after too many days like that, I realized I needed a way to break the cycle. I didn't need a new planner or a new seating chart or a new color scheme. I needed a reset, something that helped me make faster decisions, something that calmed the chaos, something I could use every time I sat down during a planning period, no matter how short or how cluttered the day felt. That's why I created the Planning Period Reset Toolkit. It's a calming ritual, not a to-do list, a quick start way to recenter and refocus when your brain is buzzing and your time is limited. So if you're tired of wasting your prep period on everything except the thing that matters most, grab the free Planning Period Reset Toolkit. I made it for teachers like you, teachers with 3+ preps, a full heart, and a half full beverage of your choice. You can grab it right now using the link in the show notes. Let's stop pretending our planning periods playing defense. You deserve better systems and a lot more peace. Until next week.